Hi guys, this is Alex from Spinny Winnie's Wool and Yarn Creations, and today I want to do a little tutorial on how to use one of these, a Turkish style drop spindle. Now we make these ourselves using a 3D printer. They're made of PLA, which is polylactic acid. It's a cornstarch derivative, so it's fully biodegradable. The only thing I would say is don't leave it anywhere very hot, like on a sunny windowsill or in a hot car, because the plastic or the PLA in it might warp. But they are Turkish style bottom wool spindles. When you receive it, it will come in 3 pieces, 2 arms, a big one and a little one, and a centre shaft. Now you can buy these from us online at our website www.spinnywinnies.co.uk, or you can come into our shop at the Ginny Ring Craft Centre in Bromsgrove in Worcestershire. They cost £6 on their own. They come in a whole variety of colours. If you've got anything in particular, a specific colour that you'd like us to get, then give us a shout and we can sort that for you. Or you can buy a beginner's set, so you get a spindle, you get 100 grams of fibre, and you get a little leaflet explaining how to use it. That's all just for £10, so that would make a brilliant present for someone, or just a great starter. If someone's a little bit interested in spinning, wants to know how we make yarn, then this is the place to start. So I'm just going to talk you through very briefly how to use one of our spindles or any style of Turkish spindle. These are actually the oldest way of spinning yarn. They used to consist of 3 sticks that you put together. You could take them anywhere, so for nomadic tribes and things like that. But yeah, let's get started. So, you take your big arm, push your little arm inside, like that, so that your holes match up. And then all you need to do is take your shaft, thin end first, and push it up through the middle, like that, so that your thick end of the shaft is here, thin end is at the top, and your arms are curving down towards the bottom. Now you can, if you want to, start spinning with a leader. A leader is basically just a piece of scrap yarn, about a metre and a half of yarn. You tie it to the bottom and it gets you started. I'm lazy, I'm not going to bother with a leader, so I'll show you how I get started when you haven't got bits of yarn to use for your leader. So I've got some, this is just merino, nice red blend, we call this Ruby Tuesday. Most of our things that we sell in our shop are named after songs because I'm always singing. I'll spare you that today. So to get started with your fibre, I'm just going to push this centre shaft out again. Take the fluffy end of your fibre here, pop it over the hole, and then as you push the shaft back through, oops, there we go, that will just anchor your fibre in place. Now if you've never worked with fibre before, it's worth just taking a moment or two just to have a look and consider the way it works. So it will come, if you buy our fibre, in a 100 gram braid like this. Obviously I've already started using the end of this one. So to get your fibre out, you just find the end of it and pull, and the braid just undoes itself. To break off a little bit of fibre, oops, that's my spindle, hold your hands about, what's that, 6 inches apart, pull gently and it will just tuft apart. So the way this works, someone has very kindly shorn the sheep, so to speak, cleaned it all up for us, brushed out all of the hairs of the fleece, what we call the fibre, so that they're all running along in the same direction. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah? So if you just take a little pinch at the end, like that. You probably can't see this very well, so I'll do some close-ups afterwards. And that is what we call your staple length. That is one hair, one fibre length. If you try and pull on that staple length, you don't go in anywhere. It's very strong. So what you need to remember, because that is far too thick to spin a yarn, you have to draft it. You have to just gently pull more than a fibre length apart with your hands and just gently tease it apart to draft it out to the thickness that you'd like to spin. So once we spin that, spinning is basically just putting a twist into fibre. Then you'll twist up and you've got yarn. It's worth just sitting and having a little play with your fibre before you start, just get a feel for it. It's very hard to explain on a video, but once you've got it in your hand you can see what I mean. You can really start to play with it, fluff it about, see how it works in your hands. Right, let me find my spindle. Hello! So, I've got a small piece of fibre here. I've attached it to the end of my Turkish spindle. Now to start off, I'm going to actually spin it upside down just to get us moving. So, I'm going to gently draft this out a little bit, she says. Kind of gently. There we go. And then just make sure you hold the rest of your fibre out of the way, otherwise you're going to end up getting all of a tangle. That'll teach me to be lazy and not use a leader, won't it? There we go. Right. So holding your spindle upside down. I'm doing a great job selling this. Give it a little spin and the twist will start to move up your fibre. I'm just holding it at this end so that it doesn't move all the way up the end of my fibre, because that won't be helpful. I'm just going to pop that between my knees for a minute. Just draft this out a little bit more. Let that twist move up. Okay. There we go. So we've got a fashion, a leader to get us started. Now then, I'm going to just wrap this. I've turned my spindle the right way up again. I'm going to wrap it around the spindle, turning the spindle clockwise. I'm going to go over 2 arms and then under 1 arm, and repeat that over 2 arms, under 1 arm, over 2, under 1. And now I've come to the end of my twisted fibre. I'm going to wrap my spare bit of fibre around my wrist so it doesn't get all tangled up with my spindle, and just pinch it at the end of the twist here, so that twist isn't going to start moving up into this bit of roving. Once it moves into your top here, your comb top, that's what this is called, the fibre, this type of preparation. Once it moves up into there, it's demon to get out again, so try not to let the twist move into your undrafted fibre. Now this bit, I'm going to come a little bit closer and show you. This is called a hitch knot, or a half hitch I think. I'm holding the fibre with my dominant hand. In my non-dominant hand I'm holding the spindle at the top. I'm going to stick out my index finger and wrap the yarn from front to back. Now I am going to loop that so that it's coming onto the spindle. It's very hard to do from this angle. Like that. Okay? So I've just got a little hitch there that is going to hold my yarn against the top of my spindle. It's a bit fiddly when you first start, but by the time you've spun your first lot of yarn, you'll have done it that many times that it will be easy peasy. I'll show you again. Here we are. Dominant hand holding the fibre, non-dominant hand holding the spindle. Stick your index finger out, wrap it from front to back, and then just pop your loop over the top of your spindle. If you can't see that, I'll take some close-up pictures and add them into the video shortly. Okay, so here we are. Fibre, yarn, spindle. Let's go. To start with, when you're still getting the hang of drafting, it's great to use a system called park and draft. So I'm holding my spindle. I'm going to spin it clockwise, anti-clockwise rather, because that's how I started. Some people will say you must do your singles anti-clockwise and you must apply clockwise. It really doesn't matter in my opinion. There is an idea that if you're going to use it for crochet, you should do it one way, and if you're going to use it for knitting, you do the other. It's really personal preference. There are no spinning police. No one is going to come and arrest you because you spun your singles in the wrong direction. So don't worry about it. Just start off, do what's comfortable for you, get the hang of it. Okay, so here we are. I am going to take my fingers to the bottom of the spindle and just twist it anti-clockwise, hopefully, there we go. And can you see how that twist is moving up that yarn? Now then, I've got lots and lots of twist there. That was really, really excited with twists. So I'm going to pop this just between my legs to keep it nice and steady for a moment. And I'm going to take this fibre end here and just draft it. A little bit at a time. Gently tease it apart, and then where you're pinching at the top of your fibre, at the top of your spun yarn here, let go, and the twist will move up. And again, little pull, little draft, and the twist will move up. Now that is nowhere near as twisty, is it? So I'm going to give it another spin. There we go. Park it up, pop it on a table, pop it in your lap, pop it between your thighs, wherever you want to put it. One of the beauties I find of the Turkish style spindle is that if it were to hit something, so say it touched my leg, oh, it stopped. Never mind, it stopped. I've always found with a round spindle, if it catches something, it just starts spinning the other direction, and if you do that, the yarn's going to break. So, another bonus to a Turkish style spindle. So here we go. Oh, sorry, I didn't park it that time. So I've drafted my fibre. I will give it a spin, pop it down, draft. Spin, park, draft. Now this is getting really quite a lot of yarn here. I'm struggling to manipulate this now, it's too long. So I'm going to wind it on to my spindle. I'm going to undo that hitch that I showed you earlier, just slip it off the end, and carry on winding it in that same fashion. So over 2, under 1, over 2, under 1, 2, under 1. Can you see that? Over 2, under 1. There we go. So I've left an end of about 6 inches there, just to redo my hitch, pop it on the end, and we're good to go again. I'm going to show you how to do it now when you just let the spindle spin and drop. These spindles are 30 grams, so I think that's just over an ounce, don't hold me to it. They've got a lovely long spin, and I find especially once you start to get a little bit of yarn round around the bottom, the weight of them is perfect, and they just spin for what seems like ever. So there we go, our spindle is spinning and I am drafting, and it's just starting to slow down now. So I'm going to give it another spin. Now then, this is when I usually end up standing up and then half climbing up the stairs, because I want to keep spinning and I don't want to stop and wind it onto my spindle. I haven't got any stairs here, so I'm going to wind that on there again. So the thing that takes a little bit of time to get the hang of is how much twist you need in your yarn. But it's really quite simple. If you've got too much twist, it will be really, really kinky. I'll show you. It's kind of like it was before we drafted it. That yarn is really kinky. You hold it together and it just starts winding in on itself. It feels rough, it feels scratchy, it's not nice. So if you've got too much twist in your yarn, all you have to do is draft a little bit more. And as you draft, that twist will just even itself out much better. If you don't put enough twist in it, it's very easy to know, because keep you still a minute. This happens. Oh dear, drop my spindle. That's why we call it a drop spindle. That will happen a lot, especially when you're first learning. Don't fret. It's because you haven't got enough twist. So there isn't that strength holding the yarn together and your fiber's just broken. Fear not. All you need to do is retrieve your spindle. These withstand a lot of dropping, I can vouch for that. And then take the end of your fibre, give it a little fluff so it's already pre-drafted. Take the end that once you've dropped it, it's going to go all fibrey again, no twist in that at all. And I'm just going to hold the two ends together, like that. And then, sometimes it's easier to stand your spindle on something for this bit, because at the moment this hasn't really got the strength to hold the weight of the spindle. So I'm just going to give it a little spin to get that twist going while it's resting on my knee. And then hopefully, there we go. And the two ends have magically, seamlessly, stuck themselves together. And we're spinning again. Simple as that. Now I'm going to carry on spinning this for a little bit, and then I'm going to show you my absolute favourite thing about a Turkish style spindle ever, which is the fact that it gives you a centre pull ball ready for plying. So you don't have to worry about winding your yarn all around your fingers to do some Andean plying, which I always get all very confused with. So I'm going to stop the camera now, spin a bit more so you can see what I'm going on about, and then I'll show you how to ply from a centre pull ball.